Hi, welcome to Quilting with Lori. In this series of videos, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can quilt the quilt that you might have made, the Friendship Bouquet 2023 Block of the Month. This was a quilt I designed and have available out on my website, Quilting with Lori. So I have the quilt that I've pieced out on here, my Tin Lizzie machine, and I'm going to show you how I am quilting it. So in part one today, I'm going to share with you the tools that I'm using, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the border. So first of all, for the thread that I'm using Essential Pro. It's a white thread from Connecting Threads. You can find a link to this out on my website, Quilting with Lori, and go to the Resource tab. I'm also using in the bobbin my Superior Threads bottom line 60 weight in lace white. So those are the threads that I'm using for this quilt. I am using an 80-20 Hobbs batting in the quilt. And I'm also going to be using a ruler for some of the ruler work. My Tin Lizzie is not computerized, so everything I'll be doing is either free motion, hand-guided, or ruler work. And predominantly on the border, which is what I'm going to share with you today, I'm using the straight edge of this sway ruler. This is a Piece and Quilt ruler by Natalie Bonner. It's sway number 3, and so that's the ruler that I've chosen to use to accomplish much of the quilting. So what I started to do was just out on the corner here, I'm going to stitch in the ditch all the way around that red border. So that's all I'm going to do for that. Then I come around and I stitched in the ditch all of the parts and pieces of the corner block and through the border, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Let's start with the corner. In the leaves and the bottom of the flower, I've done some straight line ruler work just to accent those leaves in the bottom of the flower. I've also done some stitch in the ditch and then a 1/4 inch outline stitch in the white background, as well as up here. And then for the flower itself, I did a grid work all the way through that flower. Then across the top of the quilt, I am working on the baskets as they run across the top of the quilt. And you'll see I'm using some real fun feathery flowers as I'm doing this. And what I'm starting with, usually I start at the bottom, I do an outline stitch around, and then I'm making the flowers and just continue doing that all the way around. I come in and grid my basket, and I also make sure that I have a nice little flower up there, and I do an outline stitch around that portion of the basket. And that's what I'm going to do all the way across. So this is series 1 of these short videos where I'll show you how to quilt this beautiful Friendship Bouquet quilt. Hopefully many of you will join me. And now stay tuned for part 2.